Hello friends!
Hi!
Today we are back with the topic of
environmental systems and societies and the broader topic of nature.
So why did we choose to talk about environmental science today?
So both of us are enrolled in a class called ESS, which is short for Environmental Systems and Societies. And at our school, it's considered both a social studies and a natural science. And because of this, a lot of students tend to kind of degrade the class and see it as more of a social studies and not a real science. And so we were both very inclined to do this video because we wanted to prove and to show that it is both a natural science and a social science.
And this is especially important to us because if you guys don't know, we actually have a club at our school called P.O.S.H, or People of Socratic Hardness. And recently we had a discussion about ESS being a pure science, or it's more of a social studies. And we had a very heated debate about it. We had a higher level physics student there with us and we kind of had this very good discussion about it. So we wanted to bring it to this channel and make it even a broader discussion. I think a lot of people don't know exactly what is within the ESS course. So if I were to define it, my favorite way to define it is that you're looking at politics, economics, and all kind of social studies like business, and you're also looking at the natural sciences such as physics, bio, and chem in the scope of environmental science and ecology. So it's a different kind of learning, but I think a lot of times people just kind of jump to a conclusion that it's shallow.
It's like a combination of and an exploration of different subjects and relating that to the environment and how we can improve the environment and also society.
The main argument that came out during our high school club discussion was the main opposition was the higher level physics student, and what he said was that we were learning about global warming basically in a wrong way. We're learning a wrong interpretation of global warming because we're not going specifically into the molecular details of how global warming happens. And we obviously disagreed to it because we're not particularly learning about global warming itself.
We are learning more about the environment, how it affects it, and also the causes. And also we kind of relate all of this back to how systems and how people's mindsets and their views on the environment could influence this.
Our argument is that because we learn about these aspects of global warming, we may not be going deeper into the molecular level, but we're going very deeply into the societal level.
Well, going back to kind of what we have previously mentioned very briefly, so the debate surrounding ESS is whether it's a natural science or a social science. Both of us, since we're enrolled in ESS, we had to do a research paper or like a project, and through this we both learned that it can be both and it can be a natural science as well. So for me, my project was about water quality and testing how human activity could influence different points of one river. And so I went out to the field and I took water samples from the Han River and I measured the water quality. So I measured pH, turbidity, temperature, ammonium, nitrate, and chloride. I felt like this was a very good representation of how ESS can actually embody bio and maybe chem, and how it works in both ways.
Hers was more experiment, hands-on, a practical kind of research-based paper, while mine was a lot more focused on society and population dynamics. So my research question was exploring the future factors, the most influential factors in the future that's going to be significant in the population decline of South Korea in the near future. For example, recently the decline of population in South Korea has mainly been because of the work culture that is so prominent. Because of the work culture, people are losing more and more interest in building a family, and because of that, less couples are deciding to give birth to children, especially because they're worried about the strong competition and stuff like that. So for me, I conducted a survey and sent it out to the student body, and this survey asks questions about contraceptives. It also asks questions about how many hours they spent with their fathers and mothers in their childhood, and a lot of society-based questions and culture-based questions. So in this way, this aspect of ESS is a lot more social science rather than natural science, but it is all in the scope of environmental science because we are seeing how the environment will be changed through our research.
Mine related more to how, even though I was measuring water quality, this also related back to humans and societies and how people can influence the water but then also how the water can influence people. And so through seeing all the different types of experiments and types of research is done through this project, it was really evident that there was like a range of ideas and ways that we can explore ESS, and I feel like people really misunderstand and like don't see the natural science part. So like people hear what I'm doing for my research and they say like, how do you do an experiment for ESS? And I feel like it was a great opportunity to show people that you can actually go out in the field and take samples and actually measure it like any other natural sciences do.
And for me, my connection to environmental science with my research topic was population plays a huge role in how we affect the environment. For example, if the population is declining, that also means that the way the resources are is going to change hugely. Like the world trade of resources is going to change immensely, and so that kind of stuff goes into my research question as well. And so the decline of one nation's racial population is a huge deal to the environment of the world. So today's episode was inspired by
the book Heart of Darkness
by Joseph Conrad. This is a very infamous book for being very boring, but I personally found it kind of interesting to read.
And we also wanted to just talk about not ESS now, but more of like the nature aspect and how nature really is important. People kind of underestimate how crucial it is to us and our survival and our world.
If you guys have read Heart of Darkness before, then you guys know that the entire book is basically set in the wilderness and in the jungle. So throughout the book, Joseph Conrad uses the environment and uses the wilderness to create this very immense tone within the book, and the nature is kind of personified as something that is very profound and heavy and above human beings.
And something that was very, a main point of the book is that nature always wins, and that no matter how hard we try to fight against nature and fight against, the weather changes and things like that, it will always be above us. So in the beginning of the book, there's a portion where there's a doctor and he measures the skull size of Marlowe, who's the protagonist, and Marlowe kind of hints at whether there's a difference between the skull size before and after they come back from the jungle, from the sea. And the doctor says they never make it back alive anyway. And so after seeing this, it was very apparent that people can't really win nature, and that nature is always going to be superior.
And there's always a sense of this mist and this haze that constantly comes out in the book. And this mist and the haze is not only a symbolism of mystery and the truth that lies within, but it's also kind of like an overarching force that is looming around the jungle that these imperialistic Europeans are in while they are exploring Congo River.
Another aspect that was very important was how the people who worked at that jungle and the people who were in that jungle became one with nature, and they embodied the wilderness and the savagery that occurred there. And I think this is also a good representation of how nature really does play an impact. And even though people think that us as individuals really don't need to care about nature because it's such a big aspect and the world is so huge that we don't make a difference, there's still an element of we become one with nature without even knowing. And this relates back to our beginning topic of ESS, because the book really showed that nature is important, and that whether we like it or not, it's always going to be surrounding us, and we have to either accept that or we have to work with it. And I think ESS is a great way to actually explore the ways that we can accept it and work with it.
Nature can be both extremely evil but also very beneficial and beautiful. And I think these two factors and these two faces of nature is something that we can't control, and we need to learn to work with. And in a way, we need to appease nature. We need to continue learning ESS so that we have a better understanding of nature, because I think we lost a lot of that throughout development since like the Industrial Revolution. So I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion about environmental systems and societies today. And
hopefully it sparks some different ideas and opinions about the environment, also the study of ESS.
If you are currently taking a natural science and is very passionate about it, we are not saying that natural science is dumb, or people who take natural science think that environmental science is always, lower than it, but
we just want to say our opinion based on how ESS is viewed at our school.
Hope you guys enjoyed.
See you next episode.
Bye!